We're Laura and Aaron, and 3 years ago we set out looking for a simple life of freedom in nature.
We didn't have any money, but we managed to build this cabin on wheels out of scrap wood and drove until we reached the mountains.
Ever since, we spent our days exploring forests and meadows and parking our little home out here on the wild side. There's a sense of excitement and hopefulness as we wake up this morning next to the turquoise waters of Lake Annecy. This lake is kind of like the gateway to the French Alps, where we'll be planning to road trip for the next few weeks. We're going to just spend the morning kind of sat by the lake doing some planning, because we set off for this road trip so spontaneously with absolutely no plans and not really any idea whether we'd even make it across the border into Europe. All we do know is we would like to see more of the French side of the Alps. We've seen plenty of the Alps before in Switzerland and Italy, but never really explored the French side in detail. We're really just looking for like wildflower meadows and fir tree forests and snow-capped mountains and blue lakes and just the whole Heidi experience. We do have a few spots that we saved on our maps of places we want to visit, but we're keeping it pretty open. We usually over-plan and have these really structured kind of travel maps, and we need to hit them all on certain days, and it can just make the whole trip quite stressful. So instead this time we're just going to keep it pretty loose and keep that balance between having enough spots on our map to have some direction as to which way we're going to drive, but not having too much of a plan that we are giving ourselves expectations that might become stressful if we don't meet them.
We set off in the direction of the first spot that's on our map, which is a mountain hike that leads up to a really beautiful lake. The road towards the start of the hike is this amazing mountain pass which has 360 views all around of the mountains, and the flowers just become more and more abundant the further you drive, and there was just flowers everywhere and we had to get out and explore the area. We started walking through these Alpine meadows and there was a really lovely breeze in the air which kept bringing through these wafts of herbal goodness, and we tried to figure out where they were coming from, and as we got closer to the flowers we noticed that some of the pink and purple ones were actually some herbs.
Thankfully in the van we had a little book on our bookshelf all about herbs and how to identify them, so we used it and we realised that there was wild thyme, wild oregano and also thyme basil. We're not the most experienced foragers, but we do love to try our hand out at it whenever we can, and every time we discover how to forage a new thing it feels like we're becoming slightly more human and slightly more connected to all that kind of ancestral knowledge that we've lost over time. Today we're going to use all these herbs that we found to make a vegan polenta dish, which is something that's eaten quite traditionally up here in the mountains.
As the evening rolled in, so did the clouds, which engulfed us in this really thick fog, meaning that the trees became more and more obscure within the mist, as did the mountains in the distance, which slowly faded away, and it just made everything feel lovely and hazy and sleepy. So we thought it was time to get our doors shut, roll our curtains down, and start getting ourselves ready for bed. In the daytime, we fold our bed away into an L-shaped sofa, which allows us to have more floor space, but to turn it back into our cosy double bed for the evening, we just fold down this wooden flap which rests on some attachable legs. Then we arrange all our seat cushions into shape to make our memory foam mattress and just get all cozy. The next morning we got up at sunrise, and we absolutely love this time of day because you can hear the crickets and the tweeting of the birds and the cows with their cowbells, who have probably been up for ages, munching away at the herbal meadows.
It's been really nice just waking up in the mountains again. There's definitely a kind of sense of belonging, just being here, like surrounded by all the flowers. And I think it's definitely a dream of ours to live here.
Yeah,
well, live in the Alps one day.
Definitely live in the Alps. One of the main reasons we started doing van life was so that we could travel around, explore different places, to hopefully find somewhere that we would like to call home one day. And since the first time we visited the Alps, we were like, yeah, this is it. This is the area. So whenever we're traveling around, going on little hikes, we're always looking for little plots of land or for some old abandoned cabins that we might be able to purchase when we save up enough.
Yeah, because it can be quite expensive here, but we'll just keep saving up and keeping our dream alive. And until then, I guess we've got our temporary little cabin here that we can park wherever we like for free. So that's a pretty good alternative for the time being.
For sure. And for now, we're just going to head out on a little walk around the area just to see what's about.
Last night we arrived at the parking spot for the hike that we've been meaning to get to, which has been saved on our maps. It's going to be a pretty steep hike, but we're packing our bags with plenty of food and water, and we're sure that there'll be lots of beautiful places to stop off along the way.
So we just started our first mountain hike of this European trip, but we keep stopping along the way.
Yeah, we just keep noticing all along the forest floor like these big clusters of tiny little wild Alpine strawberries, and they taste so sweet, almost like bubblegum, so we just keep having to stop and eat them.
Yeah, so it's a really long hike, really steep, but at least we got some nice sweet treats to keep us going.
We reached the summit just in time to watch the sun setting over the mountains. You can't really tell that there's a lake down there because it's so green that it almost looks like grass, but it's quite beautiful to see in person. There's nothing we enjoy quite as much as just pulling out a little packed lunch that we've pre-made and eating it in front of the most beautiful view after a long hike up. It's just such a relaxing, rewarding moment of rest. We probably lingered here a little too late because by the time we started walking back it was already getting quite dark, and we ended up getting back to the van in the pitch black. But all that matters is that we're back safe and sound, ready to settle down for another night on the wild side.